Well, I've got some good news for Tundra owners today. This recall right here, this was actually a defect report that was issued, and they never had a final recall for this fuel line issue that could cause a fire in your Tundra. So on August 10th, 2023, they filed this defect report with NHTSA, and they ended up not having, they had this temporary solution for Tundra owners. The issue was the fuel line in the back right above the tank was rubbing on the brake line and might start to leak and then cause a fire. So they had an interim remedy. So now they finally have a complete remedy for this. You should be getting it in the mail, but I figured it was worth doing a video about 160 some thousand Tundras are affected by this. And I've gotten emails asking me if I know when the remedy's coming. So here it is. So this is kind of a big deal. Even if you've gotten it done before and they've replaced the clamps and the plastic tube, you want to get it done again. They specifically state that in here for all vehicles involved, that even if you've had the work done previously, you need to bring your truck back in, schedule it. It'll take a couple hours. They'll put some clamps, probably a new hose on. Interesting to see. This took them, well, since August of last year to come up with this remedy. So it took them quite a while. I don't know why it took so long, but some people have had this question too when buying Tundras from dealers, used Tundras. The dealers just sell them anyway, and there was a stop sale on these initially, but once they're sold and kind of out in the wild, dealerships were selling them used still. So this was an issue. Now pretty much anybody can get this resolved. Even if a dealership's trying to sell a used Tundra, they should be able to get this recall done within a couple hours. And this affected 168,200 vehicles. It was the Tundras and the Tundra hybrids. Now the question is this going to be like all of the other recalls where, how could it only be 2022 to 2023 and only part of them? And if they just now came up with the final fix, was this final fix in the production models for the late 2023s and 24s? Are the 24s also going to be recalled? Chances are if the new vehicles that have been sold this year, the 24s, don't have this new part in them, I'm guessing they're going to be part of the recall as well. So if you smell gas and you've got a late 23 or a 24 and you smell excessive fuel smell from the back of your vehicle, maybe have it checked out because it could be this problem. And in similar fashion, it's kind of along the same lines where there's something that's just rubbing and then ends up being a problem. 2024 Ford Explorer hybrids were recalled over a risk, but it's kind of the same thing. You get this feeling that Ford says 12-volt battery cable may chafe against the belt integrated starter generator and create a short circuit. So they install tie-down straps between the battery cables and the high voltage cables after the recall letters are mailed and they can get people in. It's just interesting that I imagine that the chafing is coming from something that probably should have been caught in quality assurance. I can't imagine that, and this goes for almost every brand nowadays, you just get the feeling that they're not doing as much testing in the field. They're testing everything theoretically, like on these, they have these massive automated tests where they run cars indoors and the suspension and everything, and they test everything like through duty cycles indoors, but you sure don't get the feeling that these things are being tested in the real world as long as they used to. If you look at the NHTSA website on October 1st, here's another complaint. I get these complaints in my comments all the time. Fuel gauge shows full after driving 120 miles. This is a 2023 Tundra. I've heard this so many times. The fuel gauge doesn't work. Like how are we in 2024 with these $80,000 trucks and the fuel gauge doesn't work? And here's another one. This is a 2024 with the same exact problem, repeated resetting of the fuel gauge to full without filling the gas tank. So guy has no idea how much gas he has in his tank. It just resets itself to full. It doesn't matter, 22s, 23s, 24s, kind of doesn't feel like they're updating the parts or fixing these problems. It's just maddening to think about. I mean, it's not all of them, but this didn't seem to be a problem before. I don't recall a car that I've purchased in the past decade that had a real problem with the fuel tank indicator. Not one of all brands. So I don't know. Again, how much testing is really going on? That said, I digress. That was not the purpose of this video, but at least you Tundra owners can rest easily knowing that your fuel line will be fixed and you won't have a fire, hopefully. Anyway, till next time, thanks for watching.